Welcome to my Ed Talk on the creation of a differentiated instruction implementation team. Who am I? My name is Rebecca Bastoso, and this is my 12th year in the field of education. My practitioner role is as a 5th grade teacher. I work at a small charter school in Sacramento, California. As is common, my colleagues and I teach our group of students all subjects and are responsible for meeting the needs of our diverse group of students through the use of differentiated instruction. What is the problem? The problem I hope to address is the difficulty of meeting the needs of students with varied academic proficiency. It can be very difficult and time-consuming to plan 4 or 5 different mini-lessons to address where each student is on the continuum of learning for each subject each day. Why is the problem important to me? This problem was important to me because as educators, we want to see our students grow and succeed, and I thought there must be a better, more efficient way to address student needs. What were my hopes? I hope to learn more about my leadership ability through the creation of this leadership plan. I often struggle with organization, a trait that is important for leaders to stay on track, and hope to prove to myself that I can stay focused and organized with my planning of this implementation team. I also hope to learn more about how to handle conflict and act as a mediator when team members struggle to find a common ground. My vision of a 21st century practitioner. To be a 21st century practitioner, one must be adaptive and dedicated to lifelong learning. According to Cox 2021, the 21st century teacher is able to look at their practice and adapt based on the needs of their students. They must be able to adapt their teaching style to include different modes of learning, adapt when a lesson fails, and adapt to new technology. The current system, according to Tomlinson, 2005, encourages uniform instruction to produce uniform outcomes for students of a given age and grade. Tomlinson continues to argue that this approach does not work given the makeup of the American education system. Some roadblocks to this one-size-fits-all approach include diversity and the prevalence of learning disabilities and the growing achievement gap. These traits relate to my problem of addressing the needs of all learners. I am constantly wondering, with so much research supporting the need for differentiated instruction, why are teachers not given the resources and time needed to make that happen? Differentiated learning requires time for data collection and analysis, to sort students and create the lessons to support each proficiency level. I am also always wondering why the curriculum schools adopt often follow a heavy whole group instructional model. My understanding of a 21st century practitioner instructional leader. To be a 21st century practitioner instructional leader, one must be innovative and open-minded. When you are open-minded, great change can occur. According to Tucker 2017, in opportunity mode, you are passionately alert to possibility, to unmet needs, to the power of imagination, and to the thrill of turning vision into reality. While others see problems, you sense potential. Open-mindedness also includes taking in the ideas of others on the team. According to Obadinsky, 2022, however, for a leader to effectively lead, he or she must afford others the opportunity to share views and take the time to understand and respect those views. This does not mean that the leader needs to implement a solution aligned with any one particular person's view, but merely hearing and affording the opportunity to be heard truly goes a long way towards effective leadership. Additionally, while listening to and genuinely respecting the views of others, leaders can perpetually learn more about themselves, and thus, by being open-minded, may learn something that allows for overall better course of action for all involved. How this relates to my plan? I feel like in a school setting, those that end up in leadership positions are often in those positions based solely on the number of years at the school or in the classroom, and these teachers in many cases are happier to just do the status quo and sometimes fear change. The person who has the best leadership traits and is the most comfortable in the role is often not the leader. I have seen this result in power struggles and resentment on teams. The shared model my school follows encourages all teachers to be leaders, regardless of experience in leadership or in the classroom. This has proven successful for our organization and is the model I would like to use to solve my problem of meeting the needs of all students. Is leadership a relevant part of 21st century practitioners' rights, roles, and responsibilities? Absolutely. Being a leader and a 21st century teacher align in most areas, even if on the surface they appear to be conflicted. For example, a 21st century teacher should have a learner-centered classroom. According to Palmer 2015, when students are allowed to make their own choices, they own their learning, increase intrinsic motivation, and put in more effort, an ideal recipe for better learning outcomes. On the surface, it would appear as though the students are leading the classroom. And though they are correct, this only happens because the true leader, the teacher, has set up a classroom with routine, order, and high expectations that allow students to feel empowered to take control of their learning. The leader in this classroom must be organized, flexible, collaborative, and adaptive, all traits of a 21st century leader. I have worked hard over the last 11 years to shift my classroom to be a student-centered classroom. If you have ever taught 5th grade, you know that May is rough for everyone. After 3 weeks of state testing, everyone is burnt out. The focus level of our students wane, and we need to make some changes. I brought the problem to them. We made a plus-delta chart and identified that we are great at class discussion, collaboration, and writing our choice essays, but we were struggling with listening and sitting still. We then made a plan. We changed the entire schedule for our last 2 weeks of school. Instead of having an hour and 15-minute math block in the morning, we decided we would do 25 minutes each of math, social studies, and science, all with games and activities to promote learning in bite-sized pieces. ELA remained an hour-and-a-half block because the writing is collaborative with peer editing and engaging with student choice topics. Finally, the last hour-and-a-half of the day which we had identified as our biggest weakness, we decided to use for collaborative projects where each group would create a board game that covered student content learned throughout the year. This schedule change was made with the students. I had buy-in from the students, and my students were highly engaged for the last 2 weeks of school, and way more learning occurred than if I had kept doing something that clearly wasn't working for anyone. That is an example of leadership aligning with being a 21st century practitioner. What are essential 21st century teacher-leader characteristics? Essential 21st century teacher-leader characteristics include intelligence, empathy, and sociability. According to Northhouse 2015, intelligence includes having good language skills, perceptual skills, and reasoning ability. This combination of assets makes people good thinkers and makes them better leaders. It is imperative that a teacher-leader is competent and up to date with best practices in the classroom. This quote from author Monkey Mind comes to mind. Intelligence is the unlimited ability to conceive of concepts, and arrogance is the belief that one knows anything. It is important to remember that there is a fine line between the intelligence and arrogance. Intelligence is having an understanding of the world and the ability to reason, not to believe you are smarter than others or know it all. Cognitively, if the expectation is that all team members will be prepared and up to date with the newest instructional strategies, all team members will grow in their practice. Empathy is also an important trait in a teacher leader. According to Brower 2022, but as we go through tough times, struggle with burnout, or find it challenging to find happiness at work, empathy can be a powerful antidote and contribute to a positive experience for individuals and teams. Being empathetic as a leader can help to keep your team members feeling confident that you care for their well-being. Effectively, everyone will feel accepted, supported, and valued. A third important trait for teacher leaders is sociability. According to Northhouse 2015, a sociable leader gets along with coworkers and other people in the work setting. Being friendly, kind, and thoughtful, as well as talking freely with others and giving them support, goes a long way to establish a leader's sociability. This is an area that is important because sociability can create community and team camaraderie. As much as it can help, it is also important to remember to listen first before jumping in with your ideas so that everyone feels heard and included. Behaviorally, team members working collaboratively will create positive habits that involve seeking help and advice from colleagues. The specific target goal. My specific target goal is to create an implementation team that will plan a differentiated instruction program with the 4-5 team. The team includes 5 teachers and 2 teaching assistants to implement in the 2022-2023 school year. I would like to use the essential standards for reading, writing, and math, and our PLC process to identify the student's proficiency within the learning continuum. I would like for each of the team members to take a level group of students and provide instruction to those students at their proficiency level. This would help fill COVID gaps as well as provide enrichment opportunities. If successful, my hope is that the younger grades, K1 and 2-3, would consider creating similar implementation teams for the following school year. The key action as a 21st century practitioner leader is to support those the plan will serve directly and indirectly. This plan will directly serve the 4th and 5th grade teachers and the 2 teaching assistants. It will serve them by giving them the ability to focus on one proficiency level based on the essential standard and teach it with fidelity rather than teach the essential standard at all proficiency levels. The proficiency levels that we use is 1 as far below standard, 2 as approaching standard, 3 as on grade level, and 4 as above standard proficiency. Instead of having to plan essentially 4 lessons each day to meet the needs of the learners, the teachers will be able to focus their time, resources, and energy on teaching just one. The team planning will also provide each teacher and teacher assistant collaboration when planning instruction for their proficiency level. Additionally, our teacher assistants are fabulous and are both working through their credentialing process to become teachers themselves. Using them strategically can really help them in their practice as well. At our school, we see our assistants as just as valuable as teachers. Having them give their perspectives and fresh ideas at team meetings will be invaluable. One of our assistants for next year is looping up with the 3rd graders, so she will be able to provide valuable information about the students' current proficiency levels. I really want to encourage our assistants to feel like equals on this team, and understand that we want them to feel ownership of the intervention program as well. I will harness the strengths, desires, skills, and needs of those I serve directly by being a cheerleader and encourager. I will make sure that the rest of the team understands that I am not looking to be the supreme leader or know-it-all of the group, but rather I want us all to grow and learn through this work together as a shared leadership team. Oftentimes we are afraid to speak up and go for it with initiatives at work because we are afraid our ideas are not good enough or we don't want to add more to our already full plates. I also want to help harness each individual team member's expertise and intelligence regarding education. Newer teachers have the benefit of being educated on the most up-to-date practices, and more experienced classroom teachers have more familiarity with the state standards. Our teaching assistants come with far more personal knowledge of the new 4th graders as they have worked with them in the past, and the 4th grade teachers have a firm understanding of where the 5th graders fall on the learning continuum. Each person on our team holds important information, and for our goal of differentiated instruction, and combined, we will be able to serve the students in a much more efficient and effective manner. The plan will indirectly serve all 4th and 5th grade students for the 2022-2023 school year. It will serve them by providing them targeted instruction at their current proficiency level in flexible groups. What will be done and why? There are a number of benchmarks I created to indicate the key activities and strategies that will be essential for our implementation team. Benchmark 1, establish the first essential standards that will be covered. Benchmark 2, establish the learning continuum. Benchmark 3, to establish which students should be in which groups. Benchmark 4, a data dig at the end of the learning cycle. This will be where we evaluate whether the plan is working. And after the 4th benchmark, a new learning cycle will begin. How have I grown as a 21st century practitioner leader? The biggest way my understanding has grown and evolved is that before this course, I thought that some people were natural leaders, while others were natural followers. However, now I know that that is not true, and that all teachers can act as leaders and are leaders in their classroom every day. What is leadership to me? My personal vision of leadership is to lead with a democratic leadership style and truly listen to those I lead. According to Northhouse, rather than controlling followers, democratic leaders work with followers, trying hard to treat everyone fairly without putting themselves above others. Something I found challenging about this process was the organizational piece. I am thankful for the weekly scaffold and plan to use scaffolds such as these in the future. And I have much to celebrate with this process. It changed the way I view my own leadership qualities and opened my eyes to many possibilities to improve the learning environment for our 4th and 5th grade students. Effectively, I feel hopeful. After 2 years of isolation, I feel there's a lot of potential for our future, and I am really excited to move forward with this plan. Thank you for your attention and time. Here are the references included in my presentation today. Thank you.